Have you ever asked God, God, why am I still here? And if you have asked that question before, trust me, you are not alone. I know what it feels like to feel stuck, to feel like you've been faithful, to feel like you've been obedient and you're doing all the right things. But yet, but yet, it feels frustrating. It feels lonely. It feels confusing because no one talks about this part where you're in between seasons, the part where you've too far from where you used to be, but you're not quite where you're going yet. And we all love to talk about when God blesses us. We love to testify when he comes through, but what about the waiting? What about when the door hasn't opened yet? When the breakthrough hasn't even come through, when you're praying, when you're fasting and believing, and nothing changes. This is the part no one actually talks about, the waiting, the grinding, seeing what's supposed to come together. But let's talk about it because the waiting season isn't a punishment, it's preparation. And today I want to break a few things down for you, okay? So, one, why God has you in a season, what he's doing while you wait, and what you need to do right now to prepare because waiting isn't just time, it's about transformation, okay? So let's kind of brace ourselves within this because I'm in this season with you guys also as well. It's fun. It's a very fun season. One, the purpose of waiting is not a delay, it's a divine preparation. We live in a world that makes waiting seem bad. Seem like waiting means something is wrong. I don't know where that kinda came from, but if it hasn't happened yet, maybe you're not good enough. If you're still single, maybe you're unlovable. And if you're struggling, maybe God has forgot about you. Who told you that? That is not true. None of this is true at all. It's lies. It's fibs. Okay? Lies. Every major person God used in the Bible had to wait before stepping into their calling. Case in point, Joseph had a dream at 17, but wasn't elevated to power until his 30s. David was anointed king, but spent his years in a cave before actually ruling. Sarah was promised a child, but had to wait 25 years before Isaac was born. The waiting wasn't a waste. It was necessary. And the same is true for you. Here's the thing. If God gave you what you wanted right now, would you be ready for it? Because sometimes the delay is God's protection. And sometimes, I feel like we think we can handle on our own and all that. No, 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 no. It's God's protection. Let's take it. It's God's protection, okay? He's not letting you get married yet because there are some things he needs to heal in you first. He's not giving you that promotion because he's teaching you humility and and leadership right now. He's not opening that door yet because he want to make sure that you're able to handle it. He's making sure you're strong enough. Your waiting isn't wasted. Your waiting is working. What should you be doing while you wait? One, stop complaining, stop procrastinating. I get it. Waiting is frustrating. This waiting season can be exhausting. You're watching other people get what you prayed for, and it hurts. And I know it hurts, but let me ask you this. Are you trusting God in the waiting, or are you tolerating the waiting? Be still, I know I am God. Psalms 46:10. Let's kind of dive into that because instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Where's my food? Start asking, God, what are you teaching me in this season? Because the truth is, complaining slows down your process. Let me hit you right here. Let me hit you right here, okay? The Israelites spent 40 years in the wilderness because they couldn't stop complaining. Your attitude in the waiting season determines how long you stay there. Will you trust God even when you don't understand what He's doing for you? Work on what God told you to do. Now, let me ask you this. What if the very thing you're praying for is waiting on you to make the first move? Didn't think about that, did you? You didn't think about that. Okay. You want a relationship, but are you healing from your past first? You want a new job, but have you prepared for the opportunity? You want God to bless your business, but have you been disciplined enough to be consistent? I feel like discipline is something that we all like lack. Faith without work is dead. James 2:26. Because look. Let me hold you there. God isn't just asking you to wait. He's asking you to prepare. He's asking you to gather. So what has God already told you to do that you've been procrastinating on? Because the worst thing that can happen is for God to open the door and you're not ready to walk through it yet. Shift your focus. Worship while you wait. Instead of focusing on what hasn't happened yet, start thanking God for what He's already done. The fact that you're still here, that's proof that God is not done with you. The fact that you're growing, you're healing, you're learning, that's proof that something is happening in you. Okay? The fact that you even still have the desire for more, that's proof that God put it in you for a reason. God doesn't tease his children. If he planted the vision in you, he will bring it to pass in the right time. Your waiting is not in vain. Your next season is coming. What if God answer is no or not yet? This is the hardest part. This is the hardest pill to swallow. Because sometimes we're just waiting. Sometimes God is closing a door that we desperately want to walk through. And it hurts. But let me tell you something. God's no is always a redirection to something better. Now, what does Jeremiah 29:11 say, y'all? We already know it. For the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So, if the door hasn't opened yet, trust there's a reason. Maybe you're not being rejected. Maybe you're being redirected. Now, I want to talk about something right now. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't think about this. I think I'm the only one who thinks about this. Cycles have to be broken during your waiting season, okay? They have to be broken in order to achieve a next level. Imagine this. You say you want to become a millionaire, but in the same breath, you also say, oh, I don't like reading. What if the answers or the solutions or the business idea in which you want to do is behind that said book or them books that you said you don't like reading? We have a habit of doing this New Year, New Me kick, and it always croaks around January 15th, like the middle of January. And some people, they do the same thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this YouTube channel. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. We constantly have a habit of doing that. But guess what? We start this in the beginning of January or at the end of December, and we always just fade away from it. Now, you have to look in what you're doing, your surroundings, the people you're around, the things that you're intaking, some of these things you probably need to let go because it's like there's something that's causing me to continue a cycle that I need to break. There is something that is continuing a cycle that I need to break. This also can go for generational curses, as people talk about. I'm not so much keen on that, but if you feel like you're that person that's supposed to break that cycle, what should you be doing that is not repeating the same thing as your actions previous before or other people's actions that had the same exact fate as you? So in this waiting season, I want you to thank God for what He's done for you. and where you are, because right now you actually are already living inside of an answered prayer. This is something you probably already thought of, you're living in, and you have not had a chance to enjoy it. We never have a chance to enjoy things we pray for because we're always on to the next thing. We're always on to the next thing. And we're always are like, okay, God, I want this and this. But you haven't even said thank you or enjoy what I gave you before I answered a prayer. We can never enjoy an answered prayer because we're always thinking about the next prayer. During this waiting season, I want you to think about this. How can you break a cycle? And how can you thank God for what you already have? All right. I'll be waiting in the comments.